Psalm 119. Good trouble. Let's get into it. Right now, we're in the none stanza of Psalm 119, the longest chapter of the Bible, the center of the Bible in many ways, the heart of the biblical text. Psalms are songs. The Hebrews call it the Sefer Tehillim, the book of songs of praise. So this is a praise song. To praise means to rave, boast, be clamorously foolish. Hence, Psalm 119 is an epic rave. And today we're talking about some good trouble. All right, let's read the none passage. Every single stanza in Psalm 119 is delineated by one of the letters of the Hebrew alphabet in sequence. Today we're on Nun, which is the 14th letter. Let's read it. Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. I have sworn and confirmed that I will keep your righteous judgments. I am afflicted very much. Revive me, O Lord, according to your word. Accept, I pray, the free will offerings of my mouth, O Lord, and teach me your judgments. My life is continually in my hand, yet I do not forget your law. The wicked have laid a snare for me, yet I have not strayed from your precepts. Your testimonies I have taken as a heritage forever, for they are the rejoicing of my heart. I have inclined my heart to perform your statutes forever to the very end. All right, let's go through this text, yeah? Praise God for that. Now, as I've already talked about in previous episodes, so I won't rehash it too much, you can always go back to the episode called Crazy Eights. There are 8 words in all of these 8-line stanzas that represent Torah, God's law or God's flow. The flow interpretation of, oh, that's gonna be loud. Thanks a lot, train. The Torah in meaning flow means like the flow like of water, but really specifically the flow of an arrow from the bow of the shooter, the spear from the hand of a spear thrower, or the flow of the finger of a teacher of the law pointing heavenward, pointing towards God, pointing towards Torah. So the psalmist here is celebrating with a free will offering of his mouth. In this epic rave, he is celebrating the law of God in all these different ways. I don't know about you, but every time I came to Psalm 119 throughout most of my life, I'd be like, here we go. Because it's long. And it seems, if you're just reading it in English, you're just using a bunch of synonyms. You're filling space here, using a ton of synonyms for law. Just say law, man. Stop saying all these other things. Hey, it's a poem, it's a song, give them some leeway, but still. If you look at the Hebrew for each of these 8 words, every single one is a different facet. They all could be included under law, but all of them are saying very specific things about what kind of law, why God said it, what he said, all that manner of thing. All right, let's get into none a little bit. None your business. All right, none is associated with fish, with humility, with wisdom. The pictographic none almost looked like a sperm, or like a seed sprouting. It has a gematria. It is the 14th letter, but the gematria is 50. That is sort of the numerology of the term. And 50 is really big in Hebrew understanding. 50 is the year that you begin to enter into wisdom. Just like 40, insight begins. 30, sort of knowledge really begins. Jesus began his ministry at age 30. Dead before 40. Resurrected before 40. Pretty impressive for all of us post 40-year-olds. At 50, wisdom begins. There are considered to be 50 sort of doorways, pathways, platforms, whatever, to wisdom. 49 of them can be accomplished by human beings, according to sort of Hebraic tradition. The 50th and final, really all of them, let's be real, require God's assistance to sort of step over that last doorway into the fullness of wisdom. 50 also correlates to the weeks between Passover and Shavuot, 49 days there. It's all over the place. And now this fish, humility, wisdom, some of this has to do with the letter nun itself. There's 2 versions of nun. At the beginning of the word, which is used heavily in this stanza, it is bent over. It's literally like a bent over nun. And then there's also like a standing up tall nun when it's at the end of words. We're dealing mostly with the bent over one, hence this humility, that humility is necessary for wisdom. One must bow their head to step through the gates, the narrow way, in order to accrue greater and greater application of understanding and knowledge. So the psalmist here is excited about all of this, not only because It is that which helps him understand truth. It's also that which helps him understand practical reality, meaning the things God has told him has enabled him to survive. And even though following God has him afflicted and has the wicked laying snares around him, he still continues to praise God in this, right? He's excited about the good trouble. My man John Lewis behind me. Okay, let's look at the text itself just in a couple different ways in how it kind of unravels some of these concepts or interweaves them. Oh, I skipped the fish part. Fish echoes throughout Jesus' ministry. Fish here, though, and why would fish and propagation have anything to do with seeds, right? So fish, in some ways, are the rabbits of the Old Testament, even the New Testament, meaning they reproduce fast, make a lot of babies, and are a source of healthful, protein-rich plenty for people who need to survive to sup upon. They're constantly breeding. It seems magical, right, for a fisherman that you can go to a lake, to the ocean, whatever. You can fish out a fish. You can fish out a set of fish, feed you and your whole family, come back and there's more fish. You have to understand this is before industrial size fishing, wherein you can miss the fish. But previously, it was like, here is a bounty of great health that the Lord provides me with over and over again, which means I can survive, my children can survive, and also the fish get to survive in this particular context. So, hope that's understandable. Jesus also engaged with fish frequently, right? He fishes in loaves. The Ixoye, Lord, the Son of God, fish was an early Christian symbol. Both fish and bread are things that need to be temporarily held and eaten, meaning bread will go bad, it'll get hard, and fish will rot. Hey, man. No. What do you need? Why? Why? Kicked out of a parking lot owned by the state, even though I pay taxes to the state. Isn't that fun? So, Ixoye, Jesus fish, right? So both fish and bread go bad if not taken care of, right? A fish will rot, bread will harden. So these are things that are like manna in the Old Testament, meaning you have to consume them daily, meaning you have to return to God daily in order to receive them and benefit from them, right? Okay, so that fish thing gets to propagation not only of your species, their species, but your lineage continually, which I think is pretty cool. Your word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. When I read this for the first time ever, and I've read this so many times, at one point I made an art piece for my mom where I bought like 12, 15 Bibles and I cut this verse out and made a big art piece for her. Now, what is fascinating is I've always thought of this as kind of holding a little bit of a small version of the Shekinah fire at night that used to lead the Israelites. That's cool. But also, we can still consider it that way. However, this time I started thinking about, if it's seed-based or propagation-based, this little seed of Nun, then how cool would this image be that the light in our path are actually the seeds that we sow, that then God waters and makes good soil to exist in. So think of this light in your path this way. Mario Brothers fireball flowers, right? So everywhere we step, where the seeds of the Lord have been sown and propagated, enables us to walk safely in darkness. And again, darkness doesn't just mean like, it's scary. Darkness equals danger certainly in a pre-industrial world, because human beings don't have night vision, but that means an increase of predators at this time, increase of raiders. People can get you at night, right? Here, 108. Accept, I pray, the free will offerings of my mouth, O Lord, and teach me your judgments. Free will offerings here means a spontaneous, abundant gift, sometimes translated as an offering of praise, meaning the psalm is defining itself here. And when it says, teach me your judgments, that's the word mishpat in Hebrew, which means justice or verdict, God's legal rulings. So he's saying, I praise you for your legal rulings, which I just want to say in context, doesn't that sound wild? But again, law is seen as something that can benefit not only in the temporary, but in the extended survival of oneself and one's family. Let's look at 110 and 111, because I think those are kind of cool. The wicked have laid a snare for me, yet I have not strayed from your precepts. Meaning, here is this trouble I'm getting into, but because you say it's good, God, then, just like John Lewis said, that is some good trouble to get into. Just like I got in some good trouble with the local law enforcement. Pretty funny, right? This also recalls Proverbs 29:25. The fear of man lays a snare, but whoever trusts in the Lord is safe. So check this out. The psalmist, who knows, could have been the person same person who wrote both, or he's referencing a phrase that makes sense within this context to multiple people. So, the wicked have laid a snare doesn't necessarily mean they went out and actively did it in order to ensnare the psalmist, but that the psalmist's very own fear of man is what has laid the snare. So it's both external and internal, these dangers, right, that prevent propagation, humility, wisdom, all manner of things. And once again, over and over again, the psalmist returns to some aspect of God's law. Here he says, your precepts, I haven't strayed away from your precepts, which mean mandates or things you must do. So the psalmist is pleading with you, me, cling to wisdom even in the midst of snares. Just because affliction comes, just because other people don't like it, or just because it might make you afraid of other people, you don't have to respond that way, because your mandates that you were following are divine decrees, not man decrees. Jesus said it this way, why do you fear man who can only kill the body? You should fear God who can cast body and soul into hell. Right? Okay. He put it plainly. Here we go, 111. Your testimonies, this is aduth, eyewitness testimonies. This is one of the 10 Commandments is thou shalt not bear false witness. So aduth, God's testimonies, are the truest witness that could ever be born. And indeed, the witness itself bears out young. It propagates greatly, right? From one seed, many trees, many branches. Your testimonies I've taken as a heritage, meaning an inheritance, something you can bequeath to your children for their survival. Specifically, there is survival before God. This really lowers imminent danger, imminent trouble way down here. Makes it quite a bit more tolerable. It's actually, in some ways, almost seems like an anxiety coping mechanism. We also see in this word, nachal, heritage, which means inheritance or bequeathing. It's very similar to one of the words for law in Psalm 119, statutes, which is choke, which also means inheritance. So God's law is seen as this fundamental inheritance, increasing propagation, increasing wisdom, meaning like applied understanding and knowledge. He ends this kind of interestingly. I've inclined my heart to perform your statutes, your inheritances, forever to the very end. Now, forever to the very end could just be poetic, but it also sends you an element of mystery. You're like, how does it have an end if it's forever? Do you mean the end and then forever? What? God is so hard to understand that how else do we describe him? He has no end, and yet we have an end, but not an end. And so this is, what do we do? And the psalmist says here, in humility, in this nun spirit, I inclined my heart. Now, of course, that can just mean I leaned towards you with my will and disposition, the center of myself. But how else can you incline your heart? By getting down on your face in worship, which is what worship means, to fall down on your face. Your heart would therefore literally incline towards the ground. As you express that bent over nun humility, you realize God is the source of the biggest trouble. And as long as I'm not in trouble with him, any other trouble is good trouble. Psalm 119, good trouble.